What's up, beautiful people? This is part number 3 of the 25 tips for becoming a successful musician. Alright, this section is about playing live. Tip number 12, tune your instrument silently. So, if you tune the guitar, for example, between two songs when you're playing live, please do it with the bypass. Most of today's tuners are going to bypass immediately when you activate them, so this is necessary. But I know a lot of beginners actually which tune their guitars live on stage like. Don't do that. Do it silently, so that nobody can hear you tuning the guitar because it's annoying. Don't do that, please. Use a bypass tuner when you're playing live on a stage. Tip number 13 is related to noise as well. So if you are not playing your instrument, perhaps there's an intro where just the drums are coming in and you don't want to hear the noise from your guitar, please turn down the volume knob. There are lots of bands out there where you can hear the ringing of the strings because they do not turn the volume knob down when they actually don't play. What you can also do is just grip the frets and just put your hands here and your guitar won't ring either. But in parts where you do not play, the easiest thing to do is turn the volume put all the way down. That's it. Tip number 14. When you are playing with a band live on stage, just start the song together. To make a great impression on your audience, it's important that everyone comes into the song at the same time. If you're new to the game and if there's some rhythmic differences and the micro timing isn't perfect, it's not that bad. But if the audience is hearing that just the bass starts and then the guitar comes into it, and it's not part of the song, it's not actually the arc, for the attention, right? Then it doesn't sound good. It doesn't sound pro. So try to start on the first beat together. So the drums goes 1, 2, 3, 4, and then everyone steps in at the same time. That sounds good. Part number 15 is closely related to starting together. Is please do not abort when someone is doing a mistake. Do not abort on errors. Most of the time, the audience do not know your songs, your stuff, right? And but they will definitely know when you stop in the middle of a song that this was a mistake, right? Or the mistake happened and then you stopped. If you just pretend that nothing happened and just go on and do not stop in the middle of the song, in 99% of the time, the audience wouldn't recognize. If you're Metallica and there are YouTube channels about which analyze your live shows and what fails you made and what went wrong on stage, you already made it, right? But until then, please just fake it till you make it, right? Just keep on playing. Do not abort when an error and a mistake occurred. Tip number 16. Please stop the song together, right? Like starting and not aborting, pushing through the song, stopping on the same beat or at the same time is essential for a good performance. When I started early, there always were someone in the band who wanted to have the last word. It's just like, dan, 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 bam! And he goes, la, la, la. He said, no. Wait a second. We all finish on the last beat. Of course, when there is some attention, some arc, what was it called? Some Spannungsbogen, right? German word. Spannungsbogen, then perhaps it's okay if the guitars just fade out and the drums keeps on for another bar or two, and then they stop immediately. But most of the time, when you hear an amateur band, there's always someone who is playing one note after the official last beat after the official last part of the song, right? He's just always late to the party, right? And don't do that. Please stop at the same time. Tip number 17, announcement. Please try to improve your announcements on stage. It's always good to say what's the name of the next song, because if you aren't famous yet, nobody can guess the song just by listening to it. So it's always a good thing to frame it beforehand and say, okay, the next song is about losing your best friend and it's called Maelstrom or something like that, right? And then you go into the song. But please do not tell the whole life story. It's like, when I woke up in the morning and I figured out that one of my best friends didn't call me, or blah, blah, blah. Nobody wants to hear that in your early stages. But a little cue, it's like, okay, this is the next song. It's about blah, blah, blah. And here we go, 1, 2, 3, 4, up to the song. That's cool. That works. And what you can do between, when you're a singer especially, and the other folks have to tune silently their guitars between songs, what you can do is, we have some merch. Please go to the merch over there, or this the next song is also on our long player, is also available on Spotify or on Deezer or something like that. Just keep the audience engaged. Because when the guys and girls in the band tune their stuff silently and there is this awkward pause between two songs, that's not great, right? So most of the time when there is a big awkward pause between songs, people will leave from the front of the stage, and will fetch some beer. It's like, oh, nothing happening here, right? Right, okay, I'll go fetch a beer. And, well, sometimes they won't come back, right? So you have to keep them engaged. You have to make a little Spannungsbogen again over your whole show. Like, you start with some more soothing songs, and you have a bit up-tempo things, and then you go down, for example, and then you have a finale, right? You have to structure. This could be another tip for you as well. But all songs you play in the live venue, at a live event, you have to glue together with some clever announcement. And please don't say all the time, you're the best audience, you're the best audience. Yeah, the audience knows that. They already arrived, they paid for the tickets, and they know that they're great. Of course, you should mention that, but not every time. You have to become a bit cleverer than that, a bit more clever than that. All right, so please improve your announcements. Tip number 18. It's about making eye contact with your audience. Most of the time, it's the singer's job to keep the audience engaged, because he's transporting the verbal message in the song and between the songs when the others are tuning their stuff. Nobody minds if the guitar player or the drummer says hello to the audience, but most of the time the singer is highly engaged with the audience. And it's a good thing to practice making eye contact. There is a neat little trick that you pick 1 or 2 people from the audience and you try to stay engaged with them all of the time. So you look straight in their eyes, and all the time that they think you just play for them. You only play for 1 or 2 special folks in the audience, right? And that will keep you engaged. You do not lose contact to the audience. I went to a Deep Purple concert where the singer Ian Gillan didn't make any eye contact with the audience. It looked like the band just played for themselves. It was really, really awkward. It was my first Deep Purple concert, and I said, well, yeah, the music's great, but the interaction with the audience is like, whew, yeah, I don't know. So they just they sent a message by not interacting with the audience, like, okay, why do we have to play? Isn't it time for retirement? Why do I have to keep up with this shit and staying on stage late in the evening? I could go golfing and drinking red wine. Why do I have to keep up with playing live? Oh, I hate this rock star life, And you don't want to communicate that specific message. You want to be engaged with the audience. And one of the most important things about keeping your engagement with the audience is like practicing eye contact. Tip number 19, redundancy. Stuff will break sooner or later. So what can you do? Well, you just take not one guitar, but you take 2 guitars. Can you see them? I'm not quite sure. So you just take 2 guitars with you, right? If you have more than one guitar player, perhaps it's enough to take all in all 3 guitars with you. That there's one spare, right? But you have to have redundant. Yeah, you have to build in redundancy. If you're playing with a wireless system, you should always carry another cable with you. Perhaps the batteries drain, or the frequencies of the transmitter don't work in that specific venue, so that you can have a fallback to a cable, just a physical normal cable. That when you play with other bands, that you agree that when an amplifier is breaking, that you can use one of theirs as a spare part, as a spare for your equipment, right? And just keep in mind, everything that can break will break. There are folks who can spill the beer over your gear. Beer over gear. They spill the beer over your gear, and that could end your show prematurely if you do not have backup for your things. So please consider redundancy for the things you can break. If your singer breaks, well, yeah. Somebody else has to sing. And finishing off this section with tip number 20, do video recording of all your shows. Why is that important? Well, if you want to improve on something, you have to measure. So one of the tips was improve your announcement. If you do not know after the show what the singer said to the audience, you cannot improve on that. You cannot practice that. So please record every live show, every live event where you play, that you can analyze it afterwards. Just not on the same evening, but let's say at the next rehearsal, sit together, watch the video and said, "Ooh, dude, you forgot to tune to turn down your volume pot between the songs, and it sounded awful. Please concentrate on practicing turning the pot down." Or the singer said he made some false announcement, like the next song is available on the album, but it was not. That's not cool, right? So if you're keen on hearing the song and you buy the merch and the song isn't on the CD or on the vinyl or something, it just sucks, right? So what you should do is record every show. Just ask a friend with his smartphone. It doesn't have to be in nowadays it's easy, right? Every smartphone, almost every smartphone can do 4K videos, and the sound is insanely good today. But back in the days, it was quite a hassle. So ask a friend if you can use his camera or his smartphone to film the show. Ideally, the whole show. So that would include or require a tripod, so that your friend doesn't have to stand all the time doing this and get the sore arm. Nowadays, it literally costs nothing. Use an old smartphone, just borrow a cam, put it on a tripod, and just record the whole damn show. Because after that, you can do some aftermath, some retrospective whatever, and just improve on the things which didn't go well. Okay, so please record every show. Stay tuned.